Daddy. If you like what you see, comment and subscribe.
Sipping on a 40. Yo, I know it's been a minute, huh? Homie, I'm back. Yeah, I said, homie, I'm back.
1 2 1 2. Check, check.
Hi, Daddy.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Mr. Dad. This is episode 48, and for this episode, I wanted to talk about the evolution of me. And I feel like I've had these conversations before where I had a reflection episode in the past, and I was giving people a little bit of insight of who I am, where I'm from, and my background. But I think that I need to give people a little bit more insight of me and the evolution of me from a standpoint that people haven't seen from. Like they say hindsight is 20/20, and I'm gonna give y'all some hindsight today. So evolution of me, and I want to talk about the growth from my adult years. And most people, sometimes the adult years vary. Like some people think that my adult years may be, I don't know, age freaking 15, 16, depending on when you left your mom's house. But for me, I remember I was 18, and my mom decided that she wanted to move to Arizona. And of course, me being a functioning adult, which what I thought, I was like, oh no, I'll stay. I'll stay back here. It's fine. I'm gonna do me. I have a job. I can live on my own, things like that. I don't want to go with you. And I don't want people to get this situation misconstrued, because I made all these decisions that I'm about to speak about. I also didn't tell my family any of this or any of the shit that I was going through. I was just going through it, and I was just going to figure it out the best way I could. So I don't want people to be like, oh yeah, your mom did you like that? It's crazy. No, my mom had no idea. I chose to stay out here and be grown. So anyways, she leaves, and first I thought I was going to stay with my girlfriend, but that was out. She was still staying with her mom. And so I was pretty much doing what I had to do to survive. So from 18 to 21, I was homeless. I would live on my car. I would have all my bags, literally in my trunk, but organized. I would have a bag for clean clothes. I would have shirts, pants, underwear, socks in one bag over here, and then I would have a bag to the side that would just have my dirty clothes. So when my clothes were dirty, I would switch at whoever's house I was at, switch that morning, take it out, put it in my dirty clothes bag, and that would be my life. Sometimes I couldn't find places to sleep. I would just have to sleep in my car. And I did this for about 3 years, maybe 4. It's foggy. And it wasn't until I met my daughter's mom that I actually started to find some footing. And within those 3-4 years, I did a lot of things that I look back on and was like, man, I was stupid. You could have made better choices than that, mister. And why didn't you make better choices than that? But as we're young, we don't really understand what we're doing at our capacity of the decisions that we're making. So that's where the evolution, the evolve comes from, the growth. Sometimes, you can plant some tomatoes and some cracks, and if they're strong enough, they'll grow. And I feel like I grew out of that situation. I became something better than what I ever was before. And years have passed where I was living with my daughter's mom, and we were doing well, and there was a growth stoppage. And then I got my son's mom, and We were together for about 8 years, and there was a growth stoppage. But I can remember vividly at 28, 27, it was like my whole mindset changed. Like everything that I wanted beforehand had switched over to something else, to something greater. And this is before my son was born, because my son is 5. So I think, I was about 30 when I had him. But everything changed. I wanted to be married. I wanted to be with someone forever, and I wanted to have a main man objective. And what I mean by a main man objective is, to not be a little ass boy anymore and actually be a grown man. My objective switched over. I wanted to be something great for my family. I also wanted to, my mindset before then was like, okay, provide and protect. That's it. And no one taught me that. It was just something that I felt like a man should do, because I didn't have a father figure in my life for some years. So I didn't really know how to be a dad. I was just, learning on the fly. And parenting, your experience is only as great as what your kid's age is. So if your kid is 5, you have 5 years of parenting experience. But I was like, yeah, I'll just protect and provide. And I didn't really think about how much other things have to go into it. Like, for instance, my daughter is very emotional, and I have to match that emotion that she has with sympathy and empathy that I didn't have before. Like, literally, the streets raised me. I'm gonna be honest. So I had to find that. I had to dig deep. I had to become that person for her. And then I became that person, and now it's the same thing represented itself with my son. And that wasn't a role that I thought a man had to play. And that's part of the evolution. I want to set my kids up. We were having a conversation earlier with me and my homeboys. We have this bi-weekly sporadic conversation where we all get on like a Zoom or whatever chat, and we talk about just life. And my homeboy Deontay was just saying like, hey, like I want to set my son up to win, and I'm going to, and if he fails, then it's all on him. And when that setup is more than just buying property. And for years I was just like, oh, I'll just buy him some property and then I'll just leave it to him. But like when you're dead and gone, you don't know what actions your kids are going to take, or who's going to be as selfish, and who's going to, oh, well, we own this and I don't want to sell this. And, they all have to understand that there's other things that go along with just buying property. You can't just buy property and be like, here you go, kids. Like, you have to train them and tutor them and take them under your wing. It's just like the whole reparations conversation I was having a few weeks ago, where I was talking about how it is very important that we don't just take money. We have to learn, because if we don't learn and develop a sense of financial knowledge, then we literally will just lose. Like, we'll get the money and just blow it. And I try to preach that to my kids all the time. Like, even now with the growth of who I was 3 years ago to now, is like, it's night and day. Like, I constantly evolve for the kids, right? But I also constantly evolve for myself, because I understand that if I continue to do the same thing over and over, I'm just going to end up in that same spot again. I've failed, and I call them failures because this is not how I planned. I never wanted to have 2 different women having my children, and if it ever happened that way, I for sure thought that the second woman would be married to me, and we would be living happily ever after somewhere. And life throws you curveballs, and I think that's one of the things I'm gonna have to teach my kids. Is like, hey, sometimes you just gonna catch an L all the way around, and the only way that you can rebound from that is to come back a little stronger. But that just takes me back to my main objective: is that there's so many things I have to teach these kids that I just didn't know about before, and I had to learn that I had to evolve and I had to become a greater person just so I can teach other people how to be great. I do want to reiterate earlier on my homeless thing, that my family didn't know anything. I'm just going to handle it. I've always been like, I'm just going to handle it. And I'm just learning now that sometimes you have to let people know that, hey, I'm not doing well. But for the young people out there, in your 20s, mid 20s and things like that, it is very important that you can tolerate staying at home. I know that you hate rules and things like that, but tolerate it until you can find some solid footing before you move out. It is probably the best decision I can give, the best advice I can give anyone is to find some type of footing. We were talking about that earlier as well. Like, my kids can stay with me as long as they want, as long as they're being productive, to find that footing, because it is a jungle out there. Like, I would hate to see my son or daughter trying to find themselves in their late teens, early 20s. That is a hard pill to swallow. Being grown before you're grown. Like, in the black community, we really got to relax with that. You're 18, you're grown, get out my house. Like, we got to relax with that. We're throwing our kids to the wolves. Not saying I was a part of that, because like I said, my mom offered me to go 15 times. I was like, nah, I'm cool. But that's the same mentality. Like, it got to stop both ways. Parents, we got to stop kicking the kids out. Kids, we got to stop trying to be grown too soon. Because I promise you, I wanted to be 17 forever. Had a little job, had a little car. Well, no, I didn't have a car yet. Maybe 17 and a half, 18. Like, I had a little car, had a little money coming in, had a girlfriend. It was great. Didn't have no bills. It was even better. But yeah, that's the evolution of me. And like I said, and like I always continue to say, like, I'm here for anybody that wants to talk about anything, because I've been through some stuff. I've gone through a lot. I've seen a lot. I've seen some traumatic shit. I'm pretty much, I can share stories with anybody. And my sisters always tell me, like, everyone has a story, And they say that when people give you pity, hey, everyone has a story. Like, you got to pick yourself up and you got to keep running through it. But sometimes you got to talk about it too. And I think that's what get lost in translation. Is that, yeah, you have to get past it, but you also got to sit back and talk about it and be able to decipher and decode the problems that you're really having before they get worse. Like, you can't tell me my struggles. I can't tell you your struggles. All I can do is listen, give you a ear, and give you some advice. And when people are going through shit, like, it's time for us to start listening. Like, I learned that maybe at 28. Like, you just gotta listen sometimes. Hear what people are saying to understand. And then you can process it. And then after you get an understanding and you hear their side and you process it, because you don't want to just listen to respond. You want to listen to actually understand. And after you understand it, you can get that response. It's one of the things I have to learn. But anyways, y'all, I want to thank everyone for listening. And of course, until next time, I got to get out here and raise these kids.